One is a work wife, one is a real wife. Serious, shameless on the show.
The one who called you to fire you today?
But like about Pati, Patni or wo, na?
Monday to Friday, she's not my wife. Saturday, Sunday, she is.
Like he said, we get budge out. I would just like to clarify that there's so much more than servicing that we do. We are the brand custodians here at Schbang.
When stuff goes wrong, solutions is blamed. When stuff goes right, there's credit to be shared.
Whenever all of us are sitting together, forgetting our roles in that 1 hour and actually just understanding where do we want to reach, it has really worked out.
Hi guys, back with another episode of the Schbang podcast. Today we have a very power-packed episode. We have two people who really like each other here, two people who really don't like each other here, and I'll leave it to you all through the course of this podcast to figure out who's who. My guests today are, I would say, three pillars of what is the most important parts of Schbang. Not to say the other stuff is not important, other 8 department heads. But
Diplomatic answers.
Planning, solutions and creative. And this particular trio has a lot of sort of weird energy, I would say, amongst them. One is a work wife, one is a real wife. It happens here. You all will find out. But without further ado, let me introduce Dhruv Rajput, who's in charge of our planning. He heads planning for Schbang. Puru, who claims he's creative, but yet to be seen. Our group creative manager and...
Just 3 curious, baby curious.
Some Abbeys and stuff.
Acha, okay. Satisfaction and time milega. And Divisha Iyer Rajput, who is the... Oh, okay, sorry. Who's our vice president of solutions. Hi guys, welcome to the podcast.
Hey.
Don't act cool.
I'm not
Behave
acting
normal.
cool. I'm behaving normal.
Okay. I'm glad to have you guys here. I've been wanting to do this for a while because the three of you all have such different sort of roles at Schbang. You all are I think you all employ pretty much huge portions of our workforce and you all are responsible for a lot of the work that comes out. So we're going to have some fun, but let's start a little bit academic and keep this interesting. I wanted to do this because a lot of young people are applying to Schbang and not a lot of them know where to go. What is the department that suits them best? I'm sure you all have had people who've joined in one team and wants to switch to another team and the third team after that. So hopefully talking to all of you all who have all done this job in terms of being on the execution end and now are hiring for this job and sort of running the show, what is it that youngsters can look out for, or what is it the youngsters should know works for them to identify where they want to be, is where I think I'd like to start. I'd love it if you all could talk a little bit about your individual roles, maybe give a little bit of an intro. We normally do this to embarrass our guests. Don't tell us school, college ki like baate, just tell us relevant information.
Sure, looking at me
Don't mention you're from Jaipur.
Don't mention anything that you've done outside.
No, just jokes. But please, Dhruv, do you want to start?
Yeah, so where should I look?
Go wherever, they're all catching you. You have so many faces, so many cameras.
Okay guys, so as you know, I'm Dhruv Rajput. So yeah, I think as Indra said, I head the planning and strategy team. Been at Schbang for over 5 years now. I would like to say that I kind of joined at the right time, moved up the ladder with some really great people. My critical role, not Indranil Gowde, to be quite
Who was
precise.
your first reporting manager? Okay, I was your first.
Renal was my first reporting manager.
Who was the one that made a difference?
Harshal Karya.
Bro, serious, shameless on the show. But anyway, sorry.
But yeah, getting to the point, like BD does not do so often. So yeah, I think what has been really what I essentially am supposed to do is kind of bridge the clan requirements to what the creative journey should be, to what the creative manifestation of it should be, learn what the brand is supposed to talk about, understand the consumer insights and marry those two to create a more sharper creative brief that then he can take ahead and
Hopefully deliver.
and win awards.
Yeah, and from a creative standpoint, I think I started my journey three and a half years back in Schbang, and I think I joined during the pandemic.
But you have a little interesting story, na? You did MBA, you did like finance, not finance.
No, so I did my MBA in brand communication actually, and at that time I was not really sure that I wanted to get into writing, but I always have been a filmmaker. I've always loved filmmaking, so there was that Keeda inside me right since the beginning. I joined the Soul Store. I started as a marketing personal professional in the Soul Store, and there I realized, no guys, it is not working out for me. I need to get into a writing role. I need to get into a more creative role.
What were you doing, sorry, at Soul Store? You were like a marketing executive, so like a servicing person?
No, a proper marketing executive. So basically, my role was to actually work with the BD team there. BD team would close clients, and I would actually close the marketing deliverables. Like how we have a scope of work here, there. I would do that stuff.
Understood.
I realized soon during the pandemic, because I had a lot of time to think sitting at home, and took a tough call, and that is when I found this opening in Schbang. Mavia called me from HR and she was like, hey.
Woohoo, Mavia.
The one who called you to fire you today?
Yeah. So guys, these are the
Might not be
speculations,
here.
so might not be here, but okay, then I'm just going to spill
Go
some
back to
beans.
Jaipur.
Jaipur.
Sorry.
Jaipur, not Jodhpur.
Okay, my wife is from Jodhpur. Jodhpur is also nice. Haan.
So yeah, and then she said that, hey, there's this brand called Fevicol that
Fevicol, huh?
There's
that
this
we are,
brand.
we are looking out
Achha,
for.
so you're basically telling everyone जो भी दिख रहे on Fevicol is you like started only
Dhruv
by
and I,
The larger team.
the larger
obviously.
team, all of us have been working on it. But yeah, and that's where I took the opportunity. I joined here, and it has been great since then. I think I gelled really well with the culture. Even though I was a pandemic joinee, I was able to communicate with a lot of people. And then my journey started as a creative strategist, and then in the last 3.5 years, I've reached at group creative manager, and it's really
Wow.
something that has been a nice journey with a lot of ups and downs. But yeah, it has been fun overall. So yeah.
Okay, so I started my journey again 5 years ago. I
together.
not
Not
together.
really.
He was the one who
3
introduced.
months.
Even before
after
Schbang
me.
together. No?
That's what I was hinting at. But
Do you guys,
No,
do you want to
so-
make this like a art
no, we will. No,
podcast?
I mean it's
But like a
about
work
pati
wife
patni
and,
or wo na.
No, but I thought
I'm
it was
not
work wife
worried.
and
I'm not saying you're the wo, bro. Just chill. Haan, sorry. We're taking
So
our time.
he actually joined Schbang before me, and I actually saw the good work that Schbang was doing, and it was a new agency, right? It was growing. So that's when I applied to Schbang, and
You were in the agency game before also.
yeah, I was in the agency game before.
Don't take the name of the place you were at before. We don't care for that. Anyway, sorry.
No, so that's after 3 months after he joined, just to clarify, I joined Schbang. And yeah, I think I've been around for more than 5 years now. There's a huge amount, like what we've done is while people have grown with the agency, we've made the brands grow as well. And I mean, solutions, the most important thing like that people think is that we are just servicing, but I would just like to clarify that there's so much more than servicing that we do. We are the brand custodians here at Schbang, which means that you need to not just like, while you should know the brand in and out, there's also a lot of work that goes beyond that, right? You are the one who is making sure that the strategy, the ideas are, everything is in line with what the brand wants, what the brand needs, and how do you package everything to sell that to the client to win those awards. So that's where we are bridging the gap. We don't just manage our clients, we manage work, we manage people internally, and when all of that comes together, that's when brands are
shebang.
built. Yeah.
Fair. One question though, I mean, I quite often say this, that I feel like the solutions team is also the ones who are just there to be blamed. When stuff goes wrong, solutions is blamed. When stuff goes right, there's credit to be shared. My perception, not everybody else's personal opinion. So I feel for you. I don't want to be in your position, but I feel for you. The solutions,
Yeah.
the rigmarole, it's good. But you also have another responsibility. You also head influencer.
Yeah.
So like you do a lot of stuff here at Schbang. How do you manage to juggle the two, like in terms of thought process? Like where does influencer planning head Divisha step in, and where does VP of solutions Divisha step out? Like, because there must be conflict, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, the important thing is that the teams that we have who are running the show are really strong enough to take things forward, right? There's a lot of collaboration also that happens between the influencer team and the solutions or the creative team, because it's a package deal, right? Once you have the idea, once you have the strategy in place, how do you amplify the idea, or how do you get the right set of influencers to kind of make that big or to give that push? So all in all, there's a lot of collaboration that also happens between the influencer team and the solutions team. So there's a lot of cross learning also that happens. So again, the formula, I would say, is kind of similar. Understanding the brand is important. What strategy or approach to take for a particular brief that you get, even from an influencer front, is difficult. Of course, the fields are different, but I would say the process kind of is still similar.
Got it. Even you have a similar sort of dichotomy, right? Like you work on servicing side of things and now you're planning, like you're moving into your new role. What I find interesting about the three of you all is it's like you all are like a factory line, for lack of a better word. I'm not trying to demean it in any way, but you do the planning on a insight level, basis which you then take that planning insight, make it into creative, and then you make sure that that is manifested into the actual tangible product. So there has to be synchronicity between the three of you all, because if there's a gap at your level and it goes down to her level, it's a lot of time wasted, right? So what is the like, where do the lines get drawn between, okay, this is where planning ka kaam is over and now Puru, it's your turn?
So I don't think we want to draw boundaries really. See, because at the time we all know what is the brand objective or the campaign objective, right? What are we trying to do exactly? If that's clear, then everything really falls into place, right? Take it for, I mean, I don't think we should be taking brand example. I think
No, let's not. We don't know.
But yeah, I think, like for example, if there's a brief on a new brand positioning, right, which something Divisha's team did quite brilliantly right now.
Subtly plugging in.
Guys, I have to go home.
Yeah, proper.
I have to come on Monday. also.
Monday to Friday, she's not my wife. Saturday, Sunday, she is.
So plug in for me also.
You already saying
I'll
Monday
get
to
that,
Friday or not the 5?
Yeah, bro.
Produce the wife Monday to Friday.
He's a work wife.
Work wife.
Yeah.
You know, when
Are
we
you
go,
saying it so happily? Work wife.
but you know,
You know who you are, you're listening, he wants to be a wife.
Oh my god, guys.
Sorry.
you know, actually, even when we got married, a lot of people messaged us that fuck, you guys were together. They did not even know that we were actually together for a long
I'm
time.
very glad that this
I want
podcast...
to throw this over here just to establish how professional we try to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think see, overall, when we start on a brief, right, the roles are divided right there and then. It's quite clear that what is the ask? The client wants a repositioning piece, for example. Over there, what we try to do is we try to understand what is the brand doing right now, what's the consumer behavior towards it, what's the consumer sentiment towards it, and then where do we want to go, and identify the bridge. From there, I think definitely the bridge is narrated to them for them to kind of understand what should the creative manifestation be, what should the central thought be, and based on that, what will the ideas be, which then obviously they need to also kind of get into moving with the client. And that's quite I mean, you know, I understand that why a lot of the thinking and processing happens over here.
They have to sell it.
The selling part, and
But
because
I
I've been on
think-
that side, I know how difficult it can be.
But I think the good thing is also that how all the teams come together to collaborate. You know, it's not just his idea or his insights. You know, it's basically all of us
Our work.
trying to our work, something that all of us need to go and, you know, sell it to the brand. I would say, because it's in the end it's the satisfaction that all of us are going to get, right, for something good that has happened. Like even when we win awards, it's not just the idea that got us the award, but everything, you know, if the inside is weak but the idea is great, things fall flat, you know, and vice versa.
And one thing that I've really observed now that has worked quite well is, like, whenever let's say a brief comes, and the brief comes and you're sitting in the room as one team, like, it's planning is sitting there, creative, BD, solutions, everybody's sitting there, art, right? And when
art is a very important part of Schbang. We are going to have a separate art podcast because the designer.
I think it's a much more
free
broader.
today.
Yeah.
And it's a very creative topic, I think, which is very, very important. It's our finished product. Sorry.
Definitely. No, but yeah, exactly. Art obviously will have a separate podcast. But yeah, no, actually, everybody in the room, and I've seen that happen. Like, whenever we are working in silos, I'm more than, like, a lot of times I've seen that we don't tend to win that particular project, or we don't tend to deliver in a more efficient way. But whenever all of us are sitting together, forgetting our roles in that 1 hour and actually just understanding where do we want to reach, it has really worked out really well.
From what you said is exactly what I want to go to next. Roles, right? Today, ego. I'm not trying to make it a thing, but it is a thing. Realistically, today, all three of you all are experts at what you all do. You all are masters of your own, like, domain. But what if there's a central point that you all are just not agreeing on? How do you all, like, what does resolution look like?
I think again it goes back to the brief. Like, for example, if the difference is on, let's say, a creative manifestation, or let's just say a line, which line is closer to the brief is then the
But if it's a
settlement
line,
of it.
right, creative is subjective. Like, let's agree on that. That's something you might like, I might not like, or she might not like. So what if there's a line that you like one, there are 3 options. You like one, you like one, you like one. Who is, like, I'm asking because this is a creative domain. I'm not trying to create a fight. I'm genuinely asking because this is technically creative thing. Will he get the highest say? Or if she goes and talks to the client and the client says no and she has first-hand information, does she get? Or because you're the one dissecting it on a, say, company-wide level, you're looking at industries more macro than maybe the two of them are, do you get a say? How? What is the justification?
Honestly, I mean, see, first of all, I don't think we've ever gone with a single line. We always
Go
go
with
with
options.
go with options. So that's always on the table. But more than anything else, I think, again, it's just why does he like a line? Why does she like a line? Why do I like a line? come to a middle ground, understand perspectives, and then align on the approach. And I think we've done that a lot.
Yeah.
a
And
lot of
this
times.
actually happens a lot. We both debate a lot. So I mean, like, and
Debate
but
is a very
debate is the
gentle
right
word
word. The
putting it over there.
the nice word. But yeah, actually debating helps. And because like, put your points on the table. Just don't say that I like a line because hey, it sounds nice. That can't really be the answer to it. If
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
And even when you brainstorm, like when we all are in the room, sometimes it's important to forget the roles that we actually have to fulfill, I would say, because good ideas can come from anyone, good insights
Exactly.
can come from anyone. There have been so many times when, even creative has given good insights, even planning or even solutions has come up with
So
good
you say creative,
ideas.
not Puru's team. You mean some
Yeah,
other team.
some other team. Basically not the award-winning
I've
team.
not worked with you. So I Hello, we won awards too.
Yeah.
50 awards, guys, just saying.
There's so much tutu meme. I love it. Okay, sorry. I shouldn't stir this shit. My
You were
bad.
expecting
I-
like, this part of the podcast
Yeah.
to go big.
That's what I wanted, na.
You
but
wanted
that's-
sensational
yeah.
things, na?
So this is like a meme, like the 15-second cut
Also,
on
guys,
Instagram.
everyone who are our viewers, I have been having a standing argument with Puru for a damn long time that he looks like a pigeon.
No,
Can you
guys.
comment?
Do you think?
Is
Can
he a
we have a
pigeon?
poll on Instagram after this?
Yes, we'll have
Yeah.
a poll also at
See,
some
this
point.
is how they are going to clickbait this podcast.
Pigeon. Just do
Now
that
he's-
once.
now
Do the
he's
next
putting
thing.
his
What you do that?
neck
See,
inside.
you are doing it better than I.
But I don't look like a pigeon.
Do you want to tell them what other thing we do every day?
No, I think we can move on, guys.
If this is going to be the discussion, I don't think
No,
people
no.
are going to join Schbang.
No, you don't sound like a host. She sounds more like a host right now.
She's controlling us.
But now always, na, that's the
That's
situation.
what That's what we have to do. Manage.
Subtly.
When you say we, do you mean women? Do you mean
Solutions?
Solutions.
Do you mean?
We are great at managing egos.
Okay. I like it. Well played.
But I think just on that point, I think one very important piece on solutions is people management, not just clients, but even internally, about how do they get the whole, Schbang together. Because that is difficult. That is a very, and as you said, there are egos in the room always. And especially in a room when a big pitch is involved, you have most of your best minds, a lot of experience in a room. The people management piece is a very critical thing, and I think it is simplified by, I would say, good people working together, people whose goal is not any personal achievement but a professional achievement for the brand, for the campaign you are on.
See, as long as you know what you want, and if everyone is aligned, then you know that you need to be on the same page, and even though you're not on the same page, you need to try to figure how to work together.
But what happens about, how does it happen that you get everyone on the same page? You know what I mean? Like a lot of times it happens that, I'm not saying people are incompetent, but there are some people who just don't, it happens, I'm not saying just here, it's in multiple places, I've seen this also, that there are some people, when you get to a certain size, right? Like Schbang is a large agency now. With so much, like, I'm not saying hierarchy, we're pretty flat, but there are a lot of people. So, you can hide, like, the fact that you're not doing it. I'm not going to call it incompetence, I'm going to call it being a kamchor. Like, I don't think anyone is incompetent. I'm going to say there are a lot of people who I've interacted with in the past in my life who have just been those people who pretend like they're doing work and not doing work. So, how do you all, on your level, make sure that you get them aligned, get them to be like, okay, dude, I got to put in this time and get it done?
I think you need to, like, use them for their strengths, I would say, because of course if they are here at Schbang and if they are around for a while, I'm sure there's something that they are good at.
Sure. But what about new people who come in?
I think that's a function of time and the wavelength matching. See, you and I have been working together for 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Right, when you also started off, when we started off together, I'm pretty sure, I think you were taking a handover from my previous GSM back then, and it took us also some time to understand what you like to do, what I like to do, what you should.
But we
rely
had a
on me
very
on.
straight convo about it, right? Like, it took time to get on the
And
same
that is
page.
what happens, I think, everywhere.
Yeah.
So even with Puru, for example, now Puru and I have been working together for 2 years, actually more than that, in silos.
But like together.
Yeah. But there's understanding. Like he knows that in a creative idea, what I require, like if my business goals, what I need out of it is met, then everything is his ball. Like it's up to him what he needs. And I think there's the same understanding at his part
And
as
one
well.
thing that is very important now, don't try to do a power play right at the first go. I mean, like, legit go there, talk to them, like try and understand what your goals are, what my goals are, and like how you said, communication is the key. If you're just hiding, you're saying different things, you're not being straight about what you want to say, it's actually going to fall
Just
flat.
maybe, I mean, just putting things on email and like
It
not really
works.
trying to have an actual human conversation. I think that's one of the worst things you can do in an agency, because we are so we have to sit down
Yeah,
together.
that email is just the email is pure khunnas. Na? I'm
Yeah.
writing you the email to be like I'm putting this
no,
on
I mean,
email.
it's,
And
see,
the
I mean,
fact
even putting
that-
things on email is important, please.
No, no,
guys, put things on
Putting
email.
things on email is
It's very
important, so that
important.
we can go back
Especially
and
for
check.
solutions, guys. Especially for solutions.
And creative. sorry, it's not a one-way communication. Like we would actually listen to everyone out there, then all of us together come to a certain conclusion, so that everybody feel that they have contributed and not just been given a task. Don't make them feel like that.
And I think in our like industry also in general, there are so many like ideas, right? We thrive on ideas. What
Right.
even if it's like big or small, it's something that we thrive on. So it's necessary that all of us have a discussion. It's an open discussion, not where someone's dictating what you need to do, but an open discussion where each of us are challenging each other.
Yeah.
And you know, that's when good work comes out of it, because sometimes you need that reality check. Sometimes you need to question each other's ideas, because that's what the client's also going to do that to you, right? Why does something work? Why does something not work? So I think that discussion, healthy discussion, is something that's really required to bring out.
And questioning is important, because as creatives, I know that, and I think the three of you know it really well, that I can get married to my ideas.
Oh, I thought you were just going to stop at that first two lines.
But I
December
can,
2023.
but I can
24
get-
ना?
23 right now.
अच्छा अभी हो रहा है.
है,
Jaipur?
सही time है guys. Coming back to getting married to ideas. But that's where questioning helps. Like questioning ideas, like how you said, it's very important, because we need to, as creators also, like we need to understand whether our idea is going to meet the objective or not. It could be beautiful, like we can execute it, but at the end of the day, it's commercial art.
You don't feel that a lot of times, and I had this conversation at creative podcast that I'd also done. Sometimes as a creative person, that's not a bad thing, but you'll get, it's not defensive, but protective about your ideas.
But that's good. I think that's where our roles come in.
Yeah.
But they need to be sold on their ideas to a point where they love it, and we need to be able to be critical enough, and at the same time professional enough to let them see the gaps so it's fixable. And I think that actually helps in selling ideas.
Fair.
Because when I look back, the ideas maybe that I was fighting for 2 years back, like 2 years back, I know that those ideas maybe were not meeting the objectives when I look at them again. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be married to ideas, because I think as creators you have to fall in love with whatever that you're doing, and then as a team go and pitch it and then see what happens from there.
Can we edit this with wala part? Just make some fun out of that.
So guys, this is going to be, there are going to be a lot of B-rolls.
We'll Andrew Tate it. We'll take out of context stuff that Purva has said and just put it out there. We'll make you look like a villain.
Yeah.
But I think to what you also said, I think there have been so many times when, you know, I was myself not sold on some ideas because I thought that there were some gaps. But as a person who is, you know, who's thought of that idea and you believe in that idea, I think what happens is also solutions needs to, like, you know, give you all some space, you know, to sell that to the clients as well. And of course, if they buy that idea, then great. If not, then you would also know why it didn't work. So I think there should be, of course, I'm not saying just go with that one idea and disregard what we, you know, what solution says, because we know the brands better, we know the clients better, because we talk to them day in, day out, right? So of course, go to them with two ideas.
Like have two kind of ideas, like one is which is safe, and second is what I call it khatro ke khiladi ideas. And because the point is that every time if you keep shooting down ideas now, then creative will also feel like, oh, they are always against us, they're always talking for the client, right? But it is not like that.
But what happens when the client does that to you?
But it's okay, they need to hear from the client.
But
I
okay,
think
my question on that will be here is, today, don't you think that if they give you, say, I'm not a fan of the word, but say a framework or guardrails to keep your idea within, because I agree that creative will want to run wild, but sometimes if they're giving you those guardrails with the knowledge of having spoken to the client or having done some research, don't you think it'll be more efficient to just, like, instead of going that way, just go with the
But I don't think then you come up
Magic
with
won't
great
happen.
ideas.
no, but see
See,
that
these
will-
guardrails, I'm sorry, but I'll just take this. The guardrails also, they come from a point of logic. So till they've understood that logic which comes with the guardrail, I'm pretty sure then the creative articulation of whatever they come up, even if let's say it's a bit away, it's just there's some variance in what we thought the creative positioning should be to what they came up with, it still works out. Because till the time your logic and the argument of why this is going to work for the brand is there, I don't think it will matter otherwise.
Because our role here is, I think, to give that creative leap to the logic. Because if we just go with the logic and just go with a straight answer, we'll come back with this Diwali, do this. Or
They are
this Holi,
supposed to jump,
do
we are supposed to
this.
help them land.
Yeah, so, and we will never land to maybe like, let's say, abhi rocket kaise udega. My only thing is that is what I feel that we need to do.
Why are you
Fevicol,
taking casual
Fevicol.
names essay and dropping, bro? Just easy.
I
Itna
think-
plug.
No, but I think, see, again, Fevicol is a great example because what has happened on Fevicol is that there's an idea that, let's say, he would have pitched. Because even Harshal is so, I mean, he's so involved. What would happen is even Harshal would fight back saying, okay, no, guys, this will not work, that will not work. And at that point, he's also messaging me that, what do you think we should do? And it's not from a point of view, oh, give me feedback, oh, give me your shot. No, but it's more from like, what do you actually believe? Am I right? Am I wrong? It's not to get an idea approved. But is it like to understand a perspective that is this idea going to work or not? Right? And I mean, just on that point, you've seen the Bindi reel, right? The Bindi reel, the whole agency was against Puru ke, no, let's not submit that for anything. It's not going to win. But that's been one of our most award-winning pieces because he stood his ground that, no, guys, I really think it's going to work out. And we are seeing we've got some great awards for that particular piece by itself. So I think that is where the collaboration, the trust, I think, comes in play.
And just, I'm sorry, like we're discussing Fevicol, but I think one thing that I have observed in the last 3 years, the kind of relationship, solutions, art, creative have been able to establish on the brand, right? Everybody is like a family member.
Yeah.
Right, in that particular team, and I can say it that everybody who's working on the brand will agree that we are not scared of the way we are talking to each other. There is no filter in the way we are talking to each other. I can't say those words here, but there is legit no filter, and that has worked really well for us.
To a point where art will give copy, copy will dictate what the design should be, solutions. Copy will even go and sell the idea if required, if the solution is caught up doing something. It's that fluid, I think, and that is, I believe, the ideal way of going about
Tanveer
things.
comes and tells me कि Puru ये copy काम नहीं कर रहा है, and I'm like, I will never be like कि क्यों नहीं कर रहा है. I'll be like, okay, fair, okay, then we'll relook at it. And same vice versa, Tanveer would listen to us if Aniket is coming and saying कि अरे ये insight is not working, whatever is not working. It's always a collaborative approach that we have taken on the brand, and that has worked really well, especially when it comes to movement or it comes to topical. So yeah,
It's to a point where now, I mean, the MD of the agency can't question or
the team is thinking.
or will also kind of be like
See,
think
Harshal,
twice
kya bol
before
rahe hain?
what we try to push it back.
Okay.
so HK cut.
But another, like, I want to just change a little bit. So both of y'all, all of y'all actually have been employees and now employers, like I said in the starting. So just a lot of people don't know what each of the departments clearly do. I'm assuming because I unfortunately still get calls on the BD sales line for jobs, guys, HR. But anyway,
Put a super.
I think you guys should continue calling him.
no,
He's,
don't. I won't help you all. I won't. I will. You all will be put in the wrong teams. You will want to do planning and you'll work for Puru.
We'll take care of that. Join
do
us,
it.
we'll
But
take
you'll
care
be
of you
happy
once
only,
you
guys,
are.
if you work with me.
But so if you all can just talk about
Puru Steve should comment actual feedback under this. Huh?
So in the comment section, guys,
anonymous.
just know March 2024.
Vengeful. Just tell me a little bit about what your department is, what you're looking for as potential people to come in, and how does someone know if it's right for them?
Okay, should I go first?
Yeah.
So for planning and strategy, I think people are coming to us for answers. Even clients are going to be questioning us on, okay, this is my brief, tell me what to do. So it's very important for you to be self-critical and to ask the right questions, right? I mean, your approaches could be wrong, your methodology could be something that we can work with, but having that innate need that, okay, I want to understand more, I want to dig as deep as I can get to come to a insight which makes sense or come to a positioning which makes sense is the most critical part. And at the same time, so unlike creative, I think you can't be married to what you come up with. You need to be able to check it twice, thrice if required. Do another research piece to understand if what you initially came up with made sense or not. Do consumer testing as much as you can. I think that is the most critical piece. To ask the right questions, to be self-critical. If you are doing that, then I'm pretty sure even working with other teams will be as simple as possible. Because let's say if I come up with the positioning, I'm going to present it to them. They are going to question me. They are going to ask me all possible questions. Why this? Why not this? Why not this? And most of the times, the question is why not this, not why this. And which is where, again, as more the question I ask myself, or more the whoever's working on the brief is asking themselves, the better will be the answer, the better will be the logic, the more thought through will the idea end up being. I think that's the most critical part, at least for planning and strategy.
And what is someone who's coming to join planning? What are things that if I am a novice starting my career now and I want to apply it to Schbang and the planning team, how do I know what like some skills that I need to have other than like
Research. I think first of all, when people say when you hear the word research, you think Google search. No. Please have your ears to the ground. Please actually read up, know where to read, right? Don't just go off the first page of Google search and come up with something. I think it's quite important to brush up on your research skills, and more importantly, I think a lot of things we work on come out of everyday insights. So you should be open to listening to people also. So when I'm talking to you, right? Let's say if you are a big sneakerhead. When I'm talking to you, I should be able to understand what your thought process is, what goes into buying it, why are you picking a certain brand, will you be open to another brand. I need to be able to understand that. So I need to be able to listen to you as deeply as possible. So you should need to be a great listener if you want to join planning and strategy, because you'll even end up doing primary research, right? You'll
That's
end
fair.
up speaking to people. People will give you answers. You have to decode what is the reason behind those
analytical
answers.
thinking
Yeah,
was also
yeah.
important. Got it.
From
For
a from a creative.
Sorry, actually, can you guys also say what you guys want from planning? I think that would be a nice
Sure.
way to go about
Yeah,
it.
of course. I mean, because it's so interpersonal, maybe you all can talk
No,
about
actually,
each
you
other's.
touched upon the right nerve that it is very important to have that knack for research and observing. I think most of the times, whenever, let's say, hypothetically, we are sitting in the room, people don't listen. They think of a reply in their head, and now they're waiting to give that reply. Right? They're not listening. And I
You want
think
to take some names?
no.
I know the names.
Oh. Do you? No, but I think it is very important to actually listen and observe. And what really helps is that when that person is, when that two-way communication is happening, okay, and when that person is observing and you're having that insightful conversation, that really works well. So whatever that you said is right, that I think it is very important for that person to be critical, but not critical from a way that I have to be critical. I have to actually just criticize whatever that is there, right? Actually, but if I have thoughts, or be appreciative, if there is no feedback, then being appreciative is also a part of the job, right? So it's either or that. I think that is very important for me. And second is definitely listening and then actually talking about it. So yeah, I mean that I agree the way planning wants to function. So.
What do you think?
For me, I think number one is that at Schbang we have brands from different categories, right? Which means that we are not just interacting with people like you or me, right? There are brands where we talk to plumbers. There are brands where we talk to contractors or designers. So I mean, of course, research, like you mentioned, where, like, what data or where to do the research is important, but you should know who to talk to, because you are not going to get all the answers on the internet, right? There are a lot of times you have to actually go on ground, talk to a plumber, talk to an electrician to get the right answers from there. I think that is what the will to actually make something like that happen, because once your foundation is strong, then your ideas would be stronger, then we would be able to pitch the ideas better. So I think that's the most crucial thing, in addition to
Understanding
what
the kind
you
of
said.
person to talk
Yeah.
to.
From BD, what do you think helps you sell?
From a planning POV?
Yeah. Or do you want to answer that for everyone together in the end? I think it'll be a good.
Yeah.
Sure, I can do that at the end, but like, I mean, let me hear your thoughts. I mean, your
Actually,
about your
on
individual departments also.
creative, it's very subjective to each person that I interview.
No, I'm saying today if I am someone who's, it's not, don't go into the thing of hiring. I'm saying if I am at a step before that, when I'm applying only, how do I know, like how you said, one skill, right, essentially, which is the ability to listen and the ability to have that analytical sort of thinking process. For you, what are two things that made you realize you need to leave Soul Store and come into Schbang?
I think two things that made me realize that I wanted to leave Soul Store is that me wanting to explore. Okay, I think my passion and my dedication towards just exploring and getting my thoughts out in the way I want to express. And I think creative is a platform that will prove really helpful for those kind of people. I think because if someone, let's say I am interested in music, can be a creative. I'm interested in photography, can be a creative. Any particular, if I'm into writing, I can be a creative.
So storyteller, the format can change.
Yeah, storyteller and the format can change. And I also feel that if you want to express your thoughts, just try to give it a shot, because I really feel that there are two things that matter the most. I think the way it matters in planning, which is listening and being the will to have conversation and being expressive. I think if you're ticking these three boxes and you just want to get into advertising, just don't think that advertising is all about writing. It's about anything or everything. And when you just get into the creative system, you can go into anywhere. Like art is creative, design is creative, your copywriting.
Art and design
Yeah.
are the same thing.
No,
Right?
a little bit different.
No, I
Art
mean-
also involves a thing. I mean, like it. I feel there's a difference, but yeah, we'll do
I
it for
think
next
there's a
podcast.
sub under art, but I think what he's talking about art, even in tech, I think we've
Yeah.
seen some great, even in Schbang, we are seeing some great pieces of creative
Creativity
tech
in
coming
tech.
out.
Creativity is not just writing. That is what we tend to
Where does it
mistake.
stop for you? Like in the sense that he brought up tech, right? Tech is an interesting segue because today, up until right now, I'm not saying that that's the case or that's the right scenario, but up until right now, tech has been very technical oriented and creative has been over here doing its creative thing. The worlds don't meet. We're attempting to do that at Schbang also. So, do you feel that as a person who's applying to your creative team, you need someone who sees the full spectrum? You don't want someone who comes in only to do one thing. You want someone who can do many
Someone
things.
who's willing to see the full spectrum. Someone who's willing to put that thinking hat. Someone who's not coming and telling me कि मैं तो सिर्फ copy लिख के दूंगा.
Got it.
Someone who's coming and telling me that, yeah, I'm someone who's and the key word for me is curious. CURIOUS. That is the key word for me. If you're curious about something, if you're curious about a brief, if you're curious about any kind of piece of work that you want to go out, there are solutions out there. तुम ये आके मत बोलो कि यार
There
ये
are
नहीं-
solutions out there.
there are solutions out there. तुम ये आके मत बोलो यार ये तो वो करके नहीं दे रहा, ये वो करके नहीं दे रहा. Just be curious ना, मतलब कुछ भी हो सकता है. Like you can find your creativity anywhere. Media and creative has performed really well. Tech and creative does perform really well. I think brands like McDonald's and I think have been doing it beautifully. And just creativity is anywhere. It's not just on paper, on words or through words.
Yeah, I mean, for me, for
Creative.
for creative,
Copy.
I would say there are two things I think for me that would be important. One is, of course, coming with a mindset that don't come with a mindset that okay कोई creative brand दे दो, because no brand will come to you and say कि oh I'm creative,
make
do
any brand
creative
creative,
work.
You can make any
There
brand creative.
needs
Correct.
to be that will that okay give me a small brand and I'll make it a creative brand. Who would have thought, like there are so many brands in so many different sectors who are doing, like there are pharma brands who are doing award winning campaigns. Who would have thought? So basically coming with
One
that
is yours.
yeah. I didn't
We're all
want to say
plugging
it,
in
but yeah.
our brands really well.
We all
over here.
spoke so much about Fevicol. I also have to say something. na?
Yeah, you must.
What
you
if
must.
people need to watch this and say, oh, I want to come to Divisha's team.
Yeah, people want to come
Guys,
to Divisha's team.
That's where we cut.
To join Divisha's team, please apply.
आज ही
at
apply करें.
indonil.gaude@shabang.com.
Or his phone number will say in the end.
No,
But
that is one thing. And of course, the second thing is, like, while we like the fact that you all fight for your ideas and are married to your ideas, what happens sometimes is maybe you all don't understand the brief. Basically understanding the brief and knowing, okay, this idea, I'm not saying that you all don't.
No, but you're right. But you're right.
But I'm just saying that sometimes what happens is when you all get so, like, when any creative person, in general, like for example, even when sometimes I think of some idea that I think is really well, don't lose track of, oh, what was the brief? Know what was the brief, understand ki.
And I agree, don't directly jump on the ideas, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
But tell me
doesn't
your
work.
perspective. I mean, because I've worked with you, is yours a very little more practical perspective, right? When you think of creative, also you won't try to say that, oh, I want to come up with every idea has to be a Cannes
It need
winner.
not
It can
be.
be something
You don't
basic which has
start.
to.
But
need
see,
not
but I
be.
think that's the most important thing. Don't come up with award-winning ideas. Come up with an idea which meets the brand brief. Awards will follow.
But when you understand while planning is going and doing their primary research and solutions is going and talking to the client, for creative it is very important ki bhai, you're creative, you have that brain, right? But you need the human insight, you need the human truth. How did Manevar come up with what, like the way they are marketing right now,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's
Not a client of ours. I
not
don't
a
know
client
why
of
he's
ours,
giving
but
leverage,
Manevar
but
just
cool.
We have the
Mohe,
we are the
Mohe,
only
Mohe,
company.
Mohe,
ours is
Aana hai
Mohe,
na.
na?
Aega.
Aega na.
No,
I
but
hope so.
any brand that is communicating and any brand that is doing good on digital mainline
Yeah.
anywhere, that human truth is there, and that I think everybody needs to understand. And you can make any brand creative, is what I say, because we
Yeah.
have done that in the past, and I think we can.
And I think what
do
also happens is, when, for example, it also helps us establish that trust with the client. Like for example, I won't name the brand, but one of the pharma brands, we've worked with them for 5 years, right? So whenever there's any brief, of course, they want to meet a certain business objective, may not be a very creative way of doing it, but there's an understanding with the client also that, okay, we will come to you with, we'll do 5 things that will help you meet the business objective, but of course for our creative satisfaction as well, they are also willing to meet us midway and tell us that okay, then you tell us कि okay ये एक idea होगा जिससे तुमको award मिलेगा.
I agree.
So you know that also once this is strong, once you all know the brief and the ideas hit the brief, then it gives us also that leverage, you know, that support to fight with the client and tell them कि okay, we want to do something that's now going to help us move the creative needle on the brand.
Yeah, because
One for you, one for them sort of scene.
Yeah.
You know, one more thing that I need from creative, I personally think is very important, not maybe from the juniors, but the more like with experience, you need to really understand the business perspective of things.
But we discussed this briefly the last time. I discussed it with Harshal on the podcast, the creatives, but don't you think that between planning, between solutions, between finance, BD, the management, whatever, that
I don't mean our business,
then?
client's business.
Okay.
But see, because, and I'll tell you where, I mean, today, Fevicol, why are we marketing Fevicol? Right? I mean, if the team understands what is the point of view of our, even a single tweet, then their output is going to be as sharp as required, right? And I think that helps. Honestly, that's helped. I've seen that with a lot of guys. I've been grateful enough to work with a couple of creative guys who understand the business objective behind a brief, even before they understand the marketing objective, and those actually deliver some great stuff as well. And that helps in conversion with the client. Like when clients also understand, see, today you're marketing for business, right? So if I'm helping a client boost their business, they will eventually even give you those briefs where you can be creative, you know, as you said, where they allow you to be more creative and maybe put the business in the back seat.
Because as a junior most person, you are just, let's say, writing. Okay, great, you achieved. Like at the junior level, we're never ever going to ask you, ki, hey, you need to increase the spectrum of understanding of things. But as you start going a level up, you need to have that bird's eye view. You need to have that understanding of the business, where they want to go, and what actually, to your point also, I feel you need to understand the company's business also. Where does the company also want to go? I mean, that really helps both the business, because that will, and nobody is saying that you go and sit on the Excel sheet. Don't just understand, just talk about it, where we are headed, listen to them, observe, and then apply it in your work.
I think that's more of an add-on for me. If they know, great. If they don't, I think it's totally fine, because that's where I think solutions, and I mean, I point out myself because doing that for a while, but that's where solutions has to play the most important role.
But I think this is also important because, for example, when Schbang wanted to go to London, you know, we wanted to go international. What's important is to know that where your company is going, you know, and that actually helps you push yourselves a little more.
But don't you think that also adds that? I'll tell you, because I was involved in the starting part of that when that Schbang London thing was happening. Everybody also just forgot, oh bro, ye Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, chhod do, abhi straight.
London jana sabko.
I want to say
No,
with
but
Rishi Sunak.
What I mean is that, see, I mean, yes, while we aim for, you know, some awards, when you know from a creative standpoint that if I am going to like help you move that needle, you are going to think big. You're going to make sure that you win big for the company as well, right? Because when Schbang wins a Cannes or a Curious or an Abby's, it's going to make a huge difference when you are stepping into a world where there are 10,000 agencies that are already established. You know, so that I think is
important. Creative management needs to be aware about that. My point is, creative management needs to be aware about that, because then that creative person, that creative manager can actually talk to his team, because the team and creative people are the most insecure people. I'm very insecure.
Why do you think that is? Like, jokes apart, like this is serious.
Because I feel that, see, the only reason being that the only thing that we love is our ideas. Like, one of the most important thing that we love is our ideas. We want to see them go live. We want those ideas to be loved, right? We are, at the end of the day,
but don't you think of them as work product, like in the sense that today, like I don't know if I should say what I'm about to say, I shall change it in my mind before saying it.
For business, it's work product.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about today. I don't think I'm like, I want to win pitches all the time, definitely, don't get me wrong, but it's dispassionate, right? Today, if I win the pitch, yes, I feel good. If I lose the pitch because some other agency they liked better, it doesn't hurt that way, like, oh dude, what the hell, or it doesn't impact me. But today, if you give a creative idea, it's rejected, and somebody else's creative idea, which is similar route pay, that'll hurt, right?
Yeah,
you're saying
it will. And I'm okay, like, people might have a contradictory opinion
No,
about
I don't. I think it's very real.
I think it's a point of motivation more than anything else.
No, because see,
imposter syndrome.
Creatives, in creative, not imposter syndrome, but in creatives, I think emotions are involved, right? I think in our ideas, we come from a place of emotions, we come from a place of experience.
Even the writing.
Even the writing, right? Everybody has a different style of writing. While on a pitch, like there might be a set template for a certain pitch and there might be a different template. But in writing, in ideas, in creative thinking in
There's no
general,
template.
there ever cannot be a process. The creative thinking is not a, whomsoever says na that there is a process to creative thinking, I disagree. I don't think so there can be a process. Ideas can come from any observation, any human experience, any emotions, and it's a very big psychological play, and that is why creatives need, and that is why if and coming back to the point of business understanding, if the manager has that business understanding, he knows how to tie it emotionally and give it to his team and tell his team that hey, this is what we are going through and this is where we want to go, but don't worry, like these are the things that we can help you achieve. And I think that is very important.
That could
for
motivate the
creatives.
team
That
as
could
well.
motivate the team, because what we feel na ki our, like sometimes what we end up feeling is that our juniors have certain 8-10 tasks to achieve,
Yeah.
and if we are giving them that mindset ki tu 10 cheez kare ghar ja, it's done, the game is done there. We need to, and that is why everybody
picture.
needs to be, maybe for example on a pitch, everybody needs
Yeah.
to be there to give
Yeah.
those directions. I mean,
Yeah.
What about solutions? What do you think is like the key things in solutions?
I think as the name suggests,
It's a different name, right? The reason I want to talk about solutions is
Brand solutions.
brand
Brand
solutions, sure.
solutions.
BSM.
Jargon.
I think, see the thing is, kya?
BSM.
Yes. Okay, I think we should start again.
No.
Sorry.
But like brands, like solutions is a generic, like it's not a normal term that most agencies have. It's your social media executive or your digital marketing executive. So solutions, like you said in the starting of the podcast, it's a little bit more than just that.
Yeah.
So what are those things first that solutions does over and above, and what are the skills that you think as a person, if I think that yeah, I have these skills, I'm fit for solutions?
I think as the name suggests, you need to be able to give solutions, right? You need to, there can't be a, of course I'm not saying that all the time the solutions that you come up would be right, but there needs to be that willingness to try and give solutions, and that can only happen when you know your people well, when you know the brand well, when you know the client well. So all in all, once all of this comes together, you know, when you want to, and it's not just that, you know, even at a junior level, there are people, we believe in everyday creativity, right? While creative team helps us elevate the ideas or things of ideas, big or small, there's also at the junior level that are doing your everyday work to bring in that everyday creativity. Whereas at the same time, at an account lead level, where you are holding the fort, where you are the brand, where you represent the brand from at Schbang, right? You need to know the brand in and out. You need to know the TG in and out. You need to know the people you're working with in and out. So even people skills, I would say, or you know, understanding the client, that's also something that's very important. You need to be able to blend everything, and it's not just them working in silos or creative working in silos, but you who has to package the whole thing and be able to sell it to the client. So of course for us also, it's not just the numbers that are important, it's also the awards that are important, you know, because when like our philosophy, like or Schbang's our motto is that when our client's business wins, we wins, right? So it's all coming together that what?
Subtly.
Very well done. Very well put.
Sorry, continue.
No, I
No,
mean,
you were so passionate, I didn't want to interrupt you. That like now he looked at me in this harami way, that's why I laughed a little bit, sorry. Continue.
Really always pushing off the blame.
You broke our flow, dude. What are you doing, man?
Schbang business, client business.
अभी वो हो गया ना, ऐसे emotions में थी मैं
I agree.
creative के से, now it's gone.
You're going to pay for it later.
No, but I think one thing that I
No.
Pay.
Now
okay.
I think people would know who
Who's the
likes,
wife and
yeah,
who's the this thing.
who-
वो कौन है?
Two people that love each other, two people that hate each other.
But still we don't know 4, na?
No, like you meant three
Oh.
of us.
I love myself, I'm good.
That
man.
is enough,
Yeah,
na, for
that's
you?
enough. I have to, na, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue, Divisha.
No,
About
I
skills
think
of
I
a
would-
person. Okay, sorry, I'll bring you back. Skills of the kind of, like, what is a person, what are the ideal 2 skills that you think are a must in a person who will hire in your team?
To be honest, I don't think there are just 2 skills as such. What is
Anything
important?
critical that you think is important?
What is important? See, for me, I'll tell you what is important is the will, the motivation that you will push and getting work done. You know, and by that I don't mean substandard work. Of course, you need to make sure that the quality is good, because only then you are going to be able to sell it to the clients, right? So, and other thing is also people management, work management. You know, you need to be able to manage people. You need to be able to not just manage people internally, but also the client's expectations, right? So it's that two like put together.
One thing that maybe I would want from solutions is that, as let's say when a junior most solution, let's say solution strategist joins the organization, their primary role is, let's say, coordination, right? But at that
It's
stage,
not just coordination.
one of the roles that they tend to do is
Be
coordination.
careful, भाई थोड़ा सा पीछे से wrap you.
Like
I won't.
stick विक तो नहीं है ना वहाँ पे?
What if, like,
इसलिए
No,
तू
no,
आ
no.
बेटा.
no, I know, but one of the roles is coordination, right?
Yeah.
And I think during that time only, if they can be groomed in a way, and like how you said, it's not just coordination, right? If they can be groomed in a way where they're not just taking something feedback, let's say taking
Blindly sending things.
and blindly sending things. Thanks for putting it
Yeah.
in that way. But right, that shouldn't happen. I think if they are groomed that way from the
Yeah.
junior most position, right, when they're told ki okay, think, analyze, paraphrase,
Yeah.
and then communicate and
Yeah.
collaborate. If
Yeah.
that approach can be given to them now, then like I don't think so we have to worry ever. Like when they
Yeah.
become a senior TL, they will themselves be in
the
that.
thought process gets
The thought process I
moves
think has to
up
be,
with them.
we make that mistake कि juniors को हम छोड़ देते हैं.
Hmm.
In creative also we sometimes make that mistake that हम juniors को सिर्फ छोड़ देते हैं, that we tell them that तू figure कर ले वो brand जाके. कैसे करेगा?
कैसा मैनेजर है?
हाँ.
Yeah, you know, I was like, I don't know if I relate to this. I'll ask my team later.
No, but
have I done this?
But my point is, I'm not pointing it to anyone. I'm just saying कैसे
Don't lie, you're
करेगा?
pointing at someone.
No, I'm not pointing it to anyone.
He
I
said
think you are
himself.
pointing at someone. If you want to
He
take
said
names, you
himself.
can.
I said myself.
I have
me.
no, I never
I'm
take
pointing
names.
it to
No,
myself.
very,
No,
like,
that's
I
why
think-
that's why I said, you know, when you understand the brand, when you understand the client, then you are able to hold that conversation and sell things. You know, that's when you can bridge the gap between planning, creative,
Exactly.
art, everything, you know, together. So that's why clear understanding of the brief, and that can only happen when you decode the brand, when you decode the client, when you know how to talk to a person.
When you're talking to the client and not just talk, like, it's
Not
not just
just
a form-
servicing them,
Yeah.
not
but
just service, but
That's
you're
why,
talking to
yeah,
them. You're
that's why I
befriending
said,
them.
yeah, that's why I said that solutions is not just servicing.
I agree.
Like if you're like, there's
See how she's just like lecturing the two of them. See, this is what it is.
no, because honestly,
अपन
I
punishment मिलने
just
वाला है.
no, I just feel that even solutions, you know, like there's a lot of like he said, you know, we get budge out. If the idea is not good, we
Literally,
get budge
but
out.
creative also
If
gets
the
budge out, yeah.
insight is- yeah, I'm not saying no, but you
Hey,
are
everyone
on
gets
two,
budge out, guys. I mean,
no,
just
but
putting
you
it
are
out
on
there.
two calls. We are on 5, for example.
Okay.
You know, I'm
Wow.
just
Okay,
No, I think
But she
no,
is
but I
like-
think what the critical
but
part is
yeah.
that let's say if you had a bad call, what happens is we had that bad
You take the
one
brunt of
call.
it.
No, but then the team has to still take approval
Four
on
other
other
calls on
pieces,
other things,
on
yeah.
content, and I think that's
When the
a
main campaign
spillover.
is not approved and
Everybody
you
should
have to
take
get
the
5
grunt
approvals.
from time
You
to
know?
time. Like all of us, whenever let's say client
Share
is
the
calling,
data.
I think those
share the load.
the danda.
I think the monthly catch up that we are having now,
Let's
It's
do
share
those
the
are
data.
that is
planning.
share the load. But you know one, I believe solutions. Sorry, I have one thing that I need in a solutions guy. That person needs to be able to rally people together. That's very important because right from copy, art, and not just that. I mean even admin team sometimes, because a lot of our you know, if we have more of an influencer activation, we need to send products. That guy needs to be able to ensure that everything is moving smoothly and everyone is working for the brand.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very critical piece, and that's actually a very rare thing. I've had the we've got some good people in our team who are able to do that, who I know are, they'll go talk to the animator very sweetly, like, oh, can you like just
Just by the way, so have
small
I.
piece.
Just saying.
Like all of us
Shbang
have.
has
SB
a bunch
full,
of
huh?
people.
No, all of us have bunch
That's
of
it,
this
very well.
lovely,
Dhruv, like
this
this
dynamic.
is SBU, Dhruv,
I think after a
Dhruv
bit,
against-
Guru, I think after a bit, you have to just get up and leave the frame.
I'll be like,
I'll
no,
just
but she's
change
saying
into
that
a-
SBU, Puru, Dhruv, both of them together.
So no, but again, coming to the point, I think you know, even that's a skill. Getting also, I mean, a lot of animators, editors work on multiple briefs. When a solution strat has to go and convince the animator that, okay, can you just, this is a very small change, it's going to take you 10 minutes, but we know that for an animator to stop a project and pick
Yeah.
up even a 10-minute change is a lot of work.
Saying copy 10 मिनट में लिख लोगे या design 10 मिनट में लिख लोगे doesn't really work, because एक idea छोटा सा हो
It's
सकता है,
not
it can
always
take a
about
whole day.
Everything
It's
is about
not always about you.
Then कितना
creative.
inefficient है यार.
हाँ,
Oh my God.
कितनी insecurities है भाई.
Oh my, even I know a TL in Devisha's team
Oh, see,
Is,
we're talking about your team. Wow.
have to.
हाँ.
You don't have to.
No, I mean, it's
Wants
an honest.
to.
I have to
Wants
be
to.
honest. I mean, I've seen in this guy. I don't want to take the name right now, but this guy, what he'll do very smartly, he'll win your confidence and make you work for him, and you won't even realize that you're working for him, and that's a very unique trait,
I
you know, and
know
that's
who you're talking about.
If everybody knows, tell me, na? I have no idea.
But we can tell you later, like off the record.
I think the person will also realize who we are talking about, and
So you know.
That's why I started by saying that, you know, solutions, like I said, it's, you need to have solutions, you know, and you need to have the motivation, like I said, to, you know, push things and make it happen. That's
agree.
what's required. Like,
But-
you may
Her like pushing helps. Like when solutions actually, like as creative, we might feel we have reached an idea, but when you push and that push happens, I think that works out well.
Ronaldo post. Very good.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Exactly. I mean,
Everyone pushed together. The whole, even the client was working at 12 in the night.
Pidilite, I really hope you are upping our retail.
that was,
I think they
publicity.
understand everything.
No, but I think Ronaldo was one whole team effort.
Yeah, and everyone pushed. I think that is very critical. Everyone pushed together.
On-
Client, agency, creative, copy, all
and
of
I
them.
remember on that day, it was client approved something. Someone just said ki yaar English copy is not going to work. Let's change it to Hindi. I think it came from Art or someone, I don't remember. But like it came from everywhere, and literally on that group, Solutions Creative, Copy, HK, Akshay, everybody was literally just pushing for it, and the client was like, okay, fine, change it. And that's the power. That's the power you should have.
Yeah.
The client should be like, yeah, we trust you to change the idea.
Yeah.
And there was enough motivation over there when we kind of pushed that idea through.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, sorry, I was on
No,
there at
I'm
that
like-
point, but yeah.
So it's just summing up. So just for everybody listening, so for planning, the two skills are you want to be able to listen. You need someone who can listen well, and someone who's got analytical thinking and wants to get an answer, wants to derive an insight. For creative, you said it's a storyteller and someone who's curious and who wants to write and wants to explore or take something and take it forward. And for solutions, you're saying someone who can basically deal with pressure, who understands the situation, who understands that they want to get the work done. It's that like tick things off the to-do list mentality has to be there. It can't be, I don't mean it in the literal sense I just write a name, but I'm saying someone who gets that he has or she has a task to do and she understands timelines and pushes beyond it. So I hope that has been made clear to people, and I hope that now it becomes easier for you all to understand the departments. Talking about a little different now, change of like gear. Let's go into a little bit of.
If I know what he's getting to, I
Of
think
course,
it's
you
gonna
know
be
what
very
I'm getting
important.
to, man. So we have to talk about the husband-wife dynamic at work.
Should
Come
I?
on.
So,
You know, he
like
wanted-
husband, wife, work, wife.
Both husband-wife, work-wife.
You know, he wanted to have a separate podcast just with me and Divisha on this topic.
Which would be cute.
It would.
Yeah,
it
it
would.
would be
But
cute.
it's fine.
I think
Nice.
there's enough depth in it, but okay.
We'll keep a small. Like
Yeah.
Now we'll make it a
How
chapter
cockla is
in
your
this
love?
podcast.
Divisha, please be professional.
Sure, we are professional only, right? now, all of us.
But y'all work together. Is there an overlap? Because see, like you said, y'all are
No.
different departments, right?
Now it is.
Now it is.
Since
How
the
does
time
that
he
work?
started.
The wife is always right in my experience.
You want to go first?
My wife is always right. She's damn smart.
No, the
Wow.
husband can go first now.
Okay. I think it's so. See, from day one, I think Divisha and I, even before we were working together properly, like professionally, we've once we enter office, there's a big difference in the way we both approach each other as well. To a point where actually, when I think
Like y'all sat and discussed this and said, okay, this is like not like crystallized like these are the rules, but did y'all sit and discuss that hey, at work we need to be different?
it's
I think it
happened
just
more
happens.
organically.
Yeah, it
It's
happens
not
more organically, like he said.
There was no rule book that okay, you did this, we cannot do this next time. I think it just
Yeah.
it's like a and
I think we know it's important to know your personal and professional boundaries, so to say.
One question: does a work fight spill over into a personal fight?
we don't. I have yes, there are work fights, not with her, but I don't think
With the other wife, यहाँ पर वाली,
eh,
ये वाली.
But we don't fight.
we have wars.
He's rubbing it in, huh?
We have wars, but okay.
We have wars. We have
But coming, I think see work fight and I mean again, I think there are the reason why a discussion will not get to a fight is because we are clear on what we want to achieve, and if our goals are aligned, then it will not become a fight, right? And and again, see, most importantly, I don't know if you weren't so close to me and you did not know she was my wife, I don't think you would have also been able to judge that we are together in the office, and that happened. A lot of people, Aaron, you know him, did not know that she was my wife. She knew. Aaron did not. Aaron, very close to us, didn't like. He knew that I'm married, but he did not know that we were married. Like I was married to her, and she was in the
Really?
office. Yeah.
Actually, I also didn't know, by the way.
Yeah.
Really?
In the first year of my
Isha,
job,
I mean, when Schbang announced the engagement, messaged Divisha, if I'm not wrong, that wait, you guys were together. So I think it's just the professional boundaries we draw. And again, we are here to do our jobs. Our job is to help our clients win, is to get our teams on right. And if you're doing that well, I don't think it really matters a lot.
And I think it's also like we don't just work solo, right? We work with our teams.
Right.
So it's important
You
when
always put somebody, I mean,
no, not that. I mean, even there
It
are times
happens.
when we also interact with each other,
Yeah.
but of course, because there's a team that we run to and they look up to us, we need to know our professional boundaries. Like we can't pull personal favors, in office to get
does that
work.
never happen? Personal favors?
You tell me. I mean, what
No,
do you
no.
guys think about
I
it?
mean,
I think it'll be best if you
No,
guys
I'm
can
not saying
judge
on a
it.
large level. I'm talking about small things like that. Like you said, editor is backed up. It's Independence Day is coming. GIF has to be made live. Does her brand, like if her brand is up?
See, I tell you what, because I even look into the animator editor workload management.
Bro, how much do you do at
Subtly
Schbang?
bol
Bro?
diya.
Wow, yeah,
Solutions
everything.
be, planning be, this also.
I'll discuss my increment later, but coming back to the point.
2 weeks. Sorry.
You're going to send this to him. But coming back to the point, I think, see, even like how anyone else would call me up and ask me, okay, I'm backed up, figure something out. It's the same way over here. And it's, again, I don't think even it all becomes a very big thing because there's understanding. See, both of us, we've tried to work before we were going out. And at that time, I don't think it went down well. I don't think we both will ever want to
Yeah.
work very closely
yeah.
just with the two of us again. But when we are in the office, we know
are
what we are
colleagues,
here
not
to do.
husband, wife.
So it's quite clear like that.
So you're like cutthroat, you'll compete with each other? Wait, sorry. I've just
Yeah,
been
yeah.
asking him, Divisha, tell me your
What,
point of view.
what?
I'm so sorry.
No, husband's always right.
No, that's, you know. Divisha, you know. how
What do
this
I know?
works.
I don't know anything.
Okay, but he talked about all the nice parts. Let's talk about the other side of it.
The
What's
upside
the
down.
other side of it?
The upside
He
down
wants
part.
the mirchi
No, of
masala.
course, bro. That's what this
That
whole
is
thing
why
is
Davda
about.
is the host now of the
Saturdays
podcast.
ko kyun aata hai if I don't get mirchi at least?
Yeah.
But what about the other side? Like when you're competing with each other for something. Say for example, tomorrow Harshal comes up to you and tells you there's this one brand that both of you all like. For whatever reason, let's assume it's Nike. Please.
Nike.
But let's assume it's Nike. Would you? I'm going to choose the phrasing of this very carefully. I'm not going to say it in like a way, but like, would you be like, no, my team, like, it's between you and Dhruv. Would you? It's not fucking over. It's fair competition. You'd beat him. You'd go for it, like the jugular. Like when you're
Yeah, why
boxing, if
not?
it's like
Yeah, of
you'll have
course.
friends at the end of it. Go for the knockout.
Yeah,
Fuck
of course.
it.
Why not? Because I mean, if it's like how pitching works, right?
Yeah.
You compete
Correct.
again, like
He
with
wants a
each
But if I'm
other.
competing-
He wants a Kejo
Kejo
coffee.
answer kya
No, but if
kar
I
raha hai?
compete with my wife, I'd be a little like worried because
But
I'm
that's the
also
thing,
very
she's not my
But
wife
that's
at
the
work.
thing, na. We have a
She's
different
not my wife at
dynamic
work.
when we enter
Okay.
office.
See, again, I think, when I realized she's my wife at work, when you and Harshal talk about it,
Yeah.
when you guys call me out like, oh, yo, Divisha's there, oh, are you scared? I mean, that is annoying. And at the same time, the
See, Harshal is referring to you as a camera, he's pointing and all. But
and the point where it's and at that's the only point where I realized, okay, my wife started to work with me, or else it's it's quite easy. I don't think
Yeah.
it's been a issue or a big problem for us till now. Touch wood.
Yeah.
because you all have interesting question doesn't involve you all. It's interesting because I'm sure everyone will understand why. Now, since you all have, I mean, a lot of times these things happen in agencies, right? Relationships, hookups, blah blah, and they don't go the long distance.
Hookups.
किसका हुआ है? Who
So
did
many
that?
people are there. I don't want to say all of that, but now you'll have been successful. You've gotten married. You'll have reached that point. So are you all both more sympathetic to people in your teams who are in relationships with other people?
Are you
As long
asking
as
for
I'm just asking.
someone's boyfriend over here and that's someone in this room?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not
Where
asking
are
about
we
anyone.
segueing to?
There could be someone on the sofa. I was actually.
See, I was trying to.
But anyway.
I mean,
Like because
There
you'll
are-
have
no
my
one
question
has,
is.
see, I'll tell you what I mean. No one's come and asked, oh,
No
what
one's gonna
this
ask
or
for
what
like
that.
opinion. I'm not trying to say that way, but like where like Schbang and myself in particular are gossipy people. It's a gossip
And
like
this room is
gossip
full of
spread.
gossip people.
Yeah, but the gossip spread, right? Now it's 1,000 people
Talk
of
about
the
yourself.
same age working together who have same interests. Obviously, like there's going to be talk. So when that stuff happens, as if someone in your team or someone in your team like you find that out, would you be unhappy about the fact that two people in your team are dating?
Not really. I don't think it would.
You don't think it impacts the way work is done? Like you all were separate, but I'm saying if two people in your team.
Oh.
So
same
I
team.
don't think. See, I'll tell you what. I think it will be a problem if they make a problem out of it. If they are not professional, if the relationships are affecting their output. For example, if they say no, I want to come on this date because my girlfriend or whoever I'm going out with is coming on this day, that becomes a problem. But again, that's a problem because you are putting your personal self
Ahead
before
of-
your professional self in your workplace, and I don't think that's okay.
Got
Yeah.
it.
I think that's the.
I
only
think as
point
long
where
as
I
you
have a problem.
leave your relationship out when you walk into the office, that's okay. I mean, it wouldn't concern who you are.
And
with,
I
to be
mean, I would
honest.
even say this not just for
Hooking up
people who are
with-
together, but
or
people who
hooking
are
up
close
with.
friends as well.
outside. Oh.
I mean, in the kind of industry we are in, you end up being very close friends with
Yeah,
people
of
you
course.
Yeah.
work. And that hampers.
It
I've
hampers.
seen that it hampers
does
the way.
hamper.
It hampers the relationship between a senior junior where
Anywhere.
giving feedback and all becomes very difficult. So I think as a professional self, you're able to distinguish that from distinguish your personal relationship from your professional relationship. Everything is smooth.
Fair. I mean, I was coming from more from the. I get your point. I let it go at that, but I was.
I just
coming-
wanted to say that for like
No, I'm getting it.
other
I'm coming from
other
the-
people in the agency as well.
I'm coming from the point that today, when it's friendship and you can't separate the two, and it leads to some sort of fight, squabble, backbiting, whatever you want to call it. How do you keep it separate when it's a relationship? Because that shit hurts like 6 times worse, right? Like your friend betrays you, you're like, cool. I'll call him. I'll call him a beep. I'll call him whatever. I'll use some word for him. 5-6 times, I'll see him 1-2 times. I'll give him 1-2 cards. I'm done, or her, whatever. But when it's romantic, it's very
I
different,
think
right?
it's similar.
No,
like
with friendship
even two
and
friends,
both, I feel
it's
हाँ,
similar,
it's
right? I
similar.
mean, if two friends.
अभी तो बोलना
I
ही
think
है
you should
ना.
let him also speak after this.
Yeah,
a bit
पूरा
for
तो
on
बोल
it.
दे.
But
मैं क्या
yeah,
बोलूं?
Divisha.
No, but I mean, even when it comes to friends, right? Like if two people who are working together or like above under each other, whatever the dynamic is, and if you're really good friends, then it depends. Are you being able to give feedback to the other person? If someone's slacking, someone's not slacking, someone's doing good, how are you being able to push that person? You know, so it's not. According to me, it's not about a romantic relationship or friendship. I think it's the again how you are separating your personal life, I would say, and your professional life.
But there are two sides of the coin. So, for example, let's say if the romantic relationship or that
सोच समझ के बोल
or
रहा
that friendship
तेरी
is
शादी नहीं हुई
going
है, सोच
out
समझ के
really
बोलना.
well,
हाँ.
if that friendship in the same team is going really well, I feel it can bring out the best also. I think it can really bring out like the work can get super efficient. I mean, like it can actually be
Means
much
pillow talk becomes creative briefs.
Yeah.
I think you're talking more about friendship.
अच्छा.
You
You
talking about
took it to the
friendship, you are
relationship
talking
piece.
about relationships, I am
अच्छा,
talking
अच्छा.
about dosti,
अच्छा,
you are talking
दोस्ती.
about dil.
Yeah, I mean, and creative and
Wow,
solution friendships
creative.
have run some of the best campaigns Schbang has
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Aniket and Guru,
Aniket and I mean,
beautiful.
Who's Jai? Who's Viru?
I think
Depends on who's Hema Malini also.
no, but Aniket and I mean, we might fight also a lot, but then we also
Might?
we fight. Oh my God, we fight also a lot. We have someone else sitting also.
Bichari, see guys, this is not okay.
So we might
Have
fight.
some shame, okay, for the podcast. Have some rules.
So we might fight also a lot, but then when we come to work together, I've seen that both of us actually seeing through the most difficult times on briefs, on brands, on projects. And
You think that's because you're friends?
yeah, because our friendship has really worked. Like Shaurya and I, or Aniket and I mean, it has worked out really well for us because no matter how many downs we have, we know that एक दिन बात नहीं करेंगे, दूसरे दिन सब ठीक हो जाएगा.
And
I
because
think, you need to understand why the fights are happening. The fights will happen for the brand.
It's happening for
So,
the brand, by the way.
Which is where I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to have these healthy discussions within your team so that you can put out the best work.
And sometimes you are working together all the time, right? So you are of course going to become friends with people who you work with. And again, like he mentioned, when you know what you're fighting for, it's not in your personal interest but in the interest of the brand.
Yeah, and if they're
Then-
managing relationships also properly, I mean,
तभी solutions आता है, bro.
तभी solutions आता है and वो problem नहीं होता है.
Fair. I had two more questions which I really want to just maybe like this thing into. One is from a individualistic level today, if you had to like say, I mean, I'm sure all of us keep track of our competition, right? Like, and all of y'all are, I mean, very critically involved in whatever is the representation of Schbang. So, what do you all look at like in terms of competition? Do you look at it competition on agency level? If so, who maybe you can say here? And second, if it's a person, like for example, there's a planning head of some other company or whatever it is, who it could be within the company itself. Is do you all have like how? What is your thought process on competition?
See, I think competition from a department standpoint is very difficult to
Company
understand.
standpoint, like you as a
so for
person,
me-
who do you look at as competition today? If I ask you, I'm not going to like break it down. I'm making it as vague. Who is competition for you today in your role at Schbang? Who do you see in the outside world? Outside world.
Very difficult to take names right now. But I mean, see, I think there are always agencies you look up to. Today, I see the way Ogilvy, I mean, great agency, the way they function, the way they work. I would definitely want to learn from them as well as to how they are, cracking at brief. So, I mean, I would look at that probably as a competition. But again, that's not coming from a point of competition. That's coming more from a point of view of respect. Because they've done so much, they've achieved so much to a point where I would really want to understand how did they go about it. And because their briefs, their asks are even, I mean, at they're working kind of large scale with a lot of companies, even at the mainline level. So even the investment that go into the idea that they come up with is quite big. But at the same time, what I've loved, seeing from that agency is the way they're able to turn around a lot of the smaller and the more tactical pieces. I know of something that they did for a brand, and you won't believe the budget that they spent on that. It was dirt cheap. So for an agency that has been thinking at scale for so long, to be able to think at that small budget as well, that's something I want to learn of how they're going about it and what is the process they're following to get there. I think that would be my take.
For me, I think it's not about like the department or the role per se. For me, it's more about inspiration. Where do I want my brands to be, or where do I want to be myself, right? For example, we recently made a film on Phenolics, and I don't have production background. Like, I'm not the one who produced the film, right? But of course, when I look at, for example, early man films, when you watch those films, you want to take your films to that level. That's just one example. So it may not be a really big agency per se. It could be a really small production house or a
Who's doing
boutique
something
agency
interesting.
who are doing something interesting, and you want to take your work to that level.
For me, competition would be looking at a piece of work that I have seen and I have this feeling like, yaar, ye mujhe karna chahiye tha. And whenever I see those
Do you see that inside or outside Schbang more?
outside Schbang more, inside also, but like outside Schbang more. When I
Just pee on that cabinet and mark your territory. Only,
no, but outside Schbang more, because whenever I see that work, because I'm like, yaar, kash, like हम में से किसी ने करा होता, like as Schbang किसी ने करा होता वो, right?
Good
Because
save.
truth.
No, but I think that's where competition will
Human
come
truth.
from, right?
Human
Where you are
truth.
like, oh, this should have been our work, this should have been,
Yeah.
and this could have been us.
And so simple yet so effective, like,
Yeah.
and to be honest, the ideas that I really like, or that I maybe get jealous, like healthy jealous of, are simple insights turned into beautiful ideas that is there out there every day. So yeah.
And I think, see, like a great way to look at competition, like, we've Corcois is right here. When you leave the
Yeah, you
gate,
can see the Curiouses.
and you see the
Yeah.
Curious over
Yeah.
there, right? You see it, you see all the awards over there.
Yeah.
And that day I was walking past, I saw them, and I walked up to our office, and I saw Ark, and I was like, we are getting there. It's and that I think is a point where I think maybe soon more than later we are going to be the one that people are going to look up to.
Yeah.
And with the way I think we are all functioning, I think it's positive. Like we
Yeah.
know where we are getting as a team.
All of us are trying to reach there, and I think that is what.
Yeah, because even when I joined, we were an agency of 150 people, and today we are 1,000 plus people.
1200, I think.
1200, yeah, across, and that to different cities,
And
going
countries.
international as well. Yeah. So I think
Super talented people.
I think I'm not going to ask another question. That's a really nice way to leave it, like in terms of.
I actually wanted to ask you a question on how
Please.
you sell R3 departments when you're going out, and what do you think the client is expecting
And
from every department per
and
se?
learning something that you would want us to maybe work
So I'll tell you,
towards.
see, planning is more nascent. So I'll maybe talk about that last because that's a little bit hard. I mean, we're still also figuring out the value promise. We understand the reason for it to be there for sure. But I'll tell you with creative, I think what clients want to see first is we always want to go with the big ideas up front. They want to see कि तू सस्ते में कर सकता है, उसके बाद I'll trust you. It's like a relationship with anyone, right? They let you do small jobs first, and then when you've done enough together. So I think that's something that I'm not saying it's not there, but I would like to see more. I think in a creative space is that everybody wants to write that glamorous 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore film, or that huge installation, or wants to shut down BKC and buy all the hoardings. But nobody thinks small before is, I think, what I would say is one point only. Other than that, I think the creative team knows what they're doing.
No, I think definitely very important. I think that has worked well. Sorry, again going back to Pidilite.
बस
yeah,
एक
let's
Pidilite
call
भी
it the
बना दो
Pidilite
यार, तुम
podcast.
podcast, make one
see,
on
I'll-
Pidilite.
if I want to have to, I mean, there are a bunch of other names that we can throw in over here, but there is tactical understanding over there as well. And see, I think the reason we say Pidilite is because even there's love over there for
Not Dabur. No, but going small is very important because I think if you're able to show them those smaller wins,
They will trust, yeah.
they will trust you.
From a solutions POV, I mean, the solutions team, like I said in the starting, they have a lot on their plate. But I'll tell you what the problem is, and I think that's because the solutions team is so large, is that what he said, I've used this word, they're like walking, talking email inboxes. Some people, like, you know what I mean? They think of it as I have to just make sure this information that's passed to me
Yeah.
goes here, that information is relayed back, and I have no involvement in the matter. If it's between art and creative, let art and creative fight, break each other's heads, and then give me at the end of it an output. So I think that's just the one thing which I guess with experience will come, that
Yeah.
ability and then maturity to take on more. Planning, I don't think that there's a problem. I think planning has come from a point of view that we needed to show this, right? Because I felt like today the industry or the agency was being viewed as one-dimensional, in the sense that maybe, okay, they'll come and either they'll do only mad creative shit for you, or they'll just do BAU for you. They won't be able to do both. I think with planning coming on, and that's the way I am also trying to project it when I talk to people, is that with planning coming in, there's just that it's not like this is something that was missing. It's one more layer added on top. So there's one person who first thinks of it on the central level, then allows the people who are the specialists to do what they do, and then when it comes all together, looks at it again, wants to know that, okay, this from the germ or the
It makes
insight
sense.
to the actual execution, that there is, it's connected. So I mean, that's where I think the three departments
Yeah.
like are very important. But I think this was a very interesting podcast, guys. I think we talked a lot,
A lot.
a
Yeah.
lot. But I think
And
we
we are super
unpacked.
Yes, super late.
Super late
See
for
this?
what?
This is what I mean. This is where the professional life ends.
But
and
that's
personal
You
life
want-
begins.
wanna
that's
like, share,
only today
subscribe,
on a
sign off,
Saturday.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
sign,
done
like,
this.
share, subscribe.
Yeah, guys. So keep
Press the
watching
bell
our
icon.
podcast. Like करे, share करे, subscribe करे.